Greetings, greetings, greetings. With us as we are getting situated. I'm going to spend a few minutes on here. I'm going to do 3 minutes of sound bath with bookshop bowl. And after we do, go because it's something I want to get in trouble with being banned. Yes, so that's what I'll be doing. But if you didn't sign up for the $6 here on Patreon, if you pull the event, no worries. You can, and we'll make sure we drop the link in here. So greetings to everyone. Started now. Oh, and he is situated here as well. Be grounded first. I think the benefit from this, and then I'm going to give you some information as to what's going to be happening when we Patreon. Woo. That felt good. All right. So we shall get started now. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Peace and everyone here. I can hear echo, and I'm not sure why. Let me skip a moment. Let me see. It was. It may or may not make a difference.
Okay.
That's what it was on at first. It's just echoing. Okay. If y'all can hear me fine, let me know. For those of you in the chat, just drop something in the chat and let me know that you can hear us. Get too I told my baby to make sure he bring the smoke, and he brought the motherfucking smoke. I love it, baby. Can't be enough. It's just enough. Okay, so it's going in divine sunflower. Okay, sound is going. So give us a moment. We're gonna close out and reopen it, and let's see clear up the audio issue. Okay.
You don't
have to. 1 second. Do that. So let's let him lead us. Okay.
You don't need it.
Okay, gotcha.
That's why.
Okay. Now, does it sound better? Greetings, hello, Forget, I see you. Calisthenics, like this is on a whole other frequency. Big pyramid shit, goddamn right it is. When Queen Akash shows up, it's a whole other frequency. Absolutely. Can y'all hear us better? My Life Mosaic says yes. Greetings, My Life Mosaic. That's my sacred sister. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody. Okay. Okay, it was clear for a second, breaking up again. Okay, much better. Okay, much better. Awesome. All right. Let's get started. So, as you all know, we have been talking about so much about the timelines and the ability to be able to jump timelines. We've been talking a lot about the ability to be able to use your own consciousness and the things that you focus on to actually cause a ripple in a 3D matrix so that you can see in between time and space. There are so many different ways to do these things, but the reason why this is important right now is because as of July the 5th, they will be starting CERN up, and it's going to be the most power that they have ever used. This is dangerous. This is dangerous for a couple of reasons. And one of the main reasons is this. Most people don't know the difference between 1260 frequency and 1320 frequency. If you don't know the difference between the two, you're existing in a plane of consciousness that can be easily manipulated. So your mind and your emotions literally is going to be playing games with you, and you may or may not be able to see your way through the fucking video game, because that's what it is. This is a hologram, right? This is a simulation. It's so much going on right now that I think this might be one of the longest lectures I have ever done alone and even together, because this is some whole other shit. So I wanted to make sure that I did due diligence with all that I know. Because 15 years ago, I was already talking about this day and it hadn't even come yet. And I was a Christian. So technically, I shouldn't even been getting downloads about any of this as a Christian. But if you all know a little bit about my story, I died twice. And that changed me forever. So not only is my sixth sense stronger than it used to be prior to my near-death experiences, but because I've traveled through many different dimensions, it allows me to see through timelines, to be able to see when there's a phantom universe being created. So the key here for you to remember is a couple of things: 1260 frequency versus 1320 frequency. We've talked a lot about that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to jump in here. If you don't know about that and you want to know more, that's the conversation that we're going to have on Patreon in about 15 minutes. I'm going to stay on for 15 minutes with everybody who did not sign up. And if you could drop those links in there.
Okay.
in the chat, babe. So what we're going to do is a shout out to the moderators. Thank you. I don't know if any of y'all are in here because I can't see the chat right now at the moment, but shout out to you and thank you. And we appreciate you. Before I proceed with anything else, if there are any trolls, anybody being disrespectful, be sure to, so we can get rid of that frequency quick, because that's not what we're doing. We ain't doing that. Now, since the late 2012, let me give you a little bit of information. Let me say this too. Whether you are a Sirian starseed or not, 9 times out of 10, that this is going to resonate with you, because many of us have spent many different lifetimes in different galactic star systems. I personally believe that anybody that resonates with ancient Kemet, anybody that resonates with certain crystals like labradorite, as soon as I seen it, I can't even explain to you the exchange of data that happened when I seen labradorite up close. And when I held it, I was activated immediately, and I could feel a stronger connection to my I divine self, in which I discovered I have spent lifetimes in Sirius as well, in the Orion star system to be specific. So I'm going to tell you 3 traits where you can know whether or not you have spent a lot of time in this particular galaxy before we head to Patreon. The 1320, breaking that down in 1260 frequency, we're going to do that over there as well. So let me skip down to this, because I know a lot of y'all are experiencing some of these things and you don't really know what's happening to you. And it's because we're existing on 2 Earths simultaneously. And within those 2 Earths, there are also 11 dimensions from my knowledge in both. So that's a lot of energy that we are not used to experiencing. So I'm going to read a little bit to you about some of the ways that you know if you spent time in this star system. One of the things that us starseeds came here to experience in this incarnation was learning how to set and enforce healthy boundaries. If that's something that you've been finding yourself working on, that is a major, major key that you are a serious starseed, okay? So it's maybe difficult for you to do it, and it might be hard for you to enforce it once you make the decision to do so. If it feels scary to tell your manager or your boss or even a coworker that you feel like you're not being treated fair, or that you're not going to be able to stay late and do somebody else's work because of something they didn't do, and now your supervisor is making you responsible, maybe it's a little uncomfortable to say something. If that's you, then this may be fitting for you, being someone who spent time in that star system. The next thing is, another example could be feeling awkward or embarrassed to ask your partner about certain sexual fantasies, expressing certain needs that you may or may not have. With everybody coming in. So that's another sign. And it's interesting because I feel like religion on this planet did make some of these things awkward for us, and it really shouldn't be. Okay. Another trait is, does it feel sad to say no to your family members who always ask you for money, but they rarely repay you? How many times have you given somebody money and you know they're not going to repay you, but you don't say no, right? So this is another sign, and these traits can be categorized under people who experience trauma as well. However, I want to focus on something so much bigger than trauma and focus more on your dharma, focus more on the star system you originated from and what you came here to be able to master, okay? So if that's you, stick around. Now, what about good boundaries to protect yourself from stress? Right? So like chronic stress and burnout that can come from always taking on extra work, things like staying late at work. Some of the examples that I gave, giving money to people that you know are probably not going to pay you back. These are some of the other things that show up. Another thing is the persistent low-level dissatisfaction and lack of intimacy that comes from doing the same old thing in your sexual relationships year after year, decade after decade, but you have not done anything to change it. Yes, that is another sign that you originated from the star system, and this was something that you came here to learn and experience. The habitual frustration, conflict, and resentment that can come from reinforcing an unhealthy habit in a family member and then constantly expecting them to change. It's just like they can't do no more than they can do. And in the words of one of our coaches, we missed somebody. Okay? In the words of one of our coaches, you cannot teach a cat to bark. It's just not going to happen. It's not possible. So this is another sign that you may be originating from the Orion star system, including Sirius A and Sirius B. Now, I know that resonates with a lot of people aren't connecting the dots as to spiritually, what the fuck does that mean? Why is it difficult for me to stop people from mistreating me? You know, why do I let people make me feel guilty and then I eventually give them what they want because they made me feel guilty? So I'm getting into that because this is one of the main things. I was like, nobody's really talking about this. Now, let's move on. Unfortunately, setting and enforcing healthy boundaries, that is a classic short-term, long-term problem, like eating a healthy diet, studying in school, or investing money instead of wasting your money or spending your money excessively when you know you really don't have it to be spending, okay? But because it's something in the short term feels good to you, you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna go and buy it. Yes, being impulsive with the way you spend your money is another characteristic of starseeds that originated from the Orion star system. What about it being difficult for you to ask for what you really want? You know, and sometimes we won't speak up. And that's why I played the Tibetan bowl for the throat chakra to help us to be able to speak our truth and stand in our truth. All right. Just because something feels uncomfortable don't mean that it is. Just because something feels bad don't mean that it is. Just because something feels evil don't mean that it is. And just because something feels good, it don't mean that's what it is. We are living in a universe that is in reverse. This is a reverse universe. Everything is upside down. So 9 times out of 10, the stuff that you was told not to do is the shit you should be doing to get liberated. And the shit that you was told to do is probably what's keeping you trapped in the spiritual concentration camps, AKA planet Earth. All right. So I want you to remember this one thing. The power of no and perhaps is going to be really powerful when they crank CERN up. Because people who have emptiness inside of them, loneliness, sadness, trauma that they have yet to even encounter, they're going to turn into more parasitic than they maybe were prior to this event coming up. So this is why I'm telling y'all these things so that you can prepare yourself. You don't have to go the mystical route that we prefer to go to get here. It's your choice ultimately, but I really believe that combining everything, not judging anything, and just seeing what the fuck works, and then using that, to me, that's what resonates, and that's going to help you. So you might be in a space where you just got to be in a cocoon for about a week or so until you really see what's going on with people's mental space around you. Okay. Now, those are some of the things that show up. And one thing that I'm going to add is that if you have, if you are very, it's difficult for you to deal with change, and it frustrates you and upsets you, and it sometimes irritates you to the point that you get uncentered and you're not anchored and grounded anymore. So, and I can relate to that, but some people feel that more than others. Like, don't look over that stuff. That's communicating something to you. This is something else that we came here to experience, master, and learn. Being unable to express your feelings, the difficulty in expressing inner emotions, especially if they appear to be bad, evil, or negative. So this is how we've been kept stuck in the planet and having to reincarnate with no memory of who we were prior to. All right. So, yes. So if you find yourself having a hard time expressing your feelings, finding the words for it, this could very well be because you have come here to master that specific thing. Now, the rest of the traits of Sirius Starseeds is going to be on the Patreon. We're going to head over there shortly. In about, I'm going to do 5 more minutes. Patreon, y'all hold up because we're going to give y'all 5 extra minutes since I went over. Okay. So what we're going to do over there is We're going to tap into the energy of Sirius because the stargates are being activated on the planet, as above, so below, and also in the cosmos. The dog days of summer is directly connected to Anubis, and Anubis is one of the gods considered a Neter, ancient Kemet, and his position is with Mayat. So as she is balancing the hearts, right, Anubis is in position to make sure that what's happening is what's supposed to be happening. He's like a guard, right? He's a guardian at the threshold. And so that's what's happening right now. In order for balance and harmony to be restored, there must be destruction, death, endings to give way to new beginnings. Now, the intergalactic war on the planet has failed to the planet in a way like never before because of a lot of us starseeds awakening, and we're beginning to fuck up the 3D matrix by dealing with these things and removing these blockages that have been intentionally imprinted and implanted onto our cellular memory. So this is not just mental, this is epigenetics, and which is what science calls a generational curse, okay? Now, in order for the Jesuits and et cetera to maintain this deep mass psychosis that we have been under for it, the patriarchy last 5,000 years seems to have really fucked us up even worse. But it's great because, again, we needed to experience destruction so that we would be able to start a new beginning, okay? These are my perceptions. Now, the ancient trauma we are experiencing is a result of entering into this new age of primordial waters of doom, which I broke down in several videos. So the things that you used to avoid, you can't anymore because our collective shadow is so dense and filled with so many different programs that are working against our evolution. We're being forced to see it. The archons, AI, and the false ET gods are using CERN to trap us in this lower dimension. And now that they know what we're awakening, they're trying to trap us. So the phantom timeline they are creating will be the core frequency of those who do not choose to cancel old soul contracts made with certain species of reptilian and Draco. And there are others which I will get into on Patreon. Now, according to Dan Winter, Delbert Blair, as well as Bobby Hemmett and many others, they are psychopaths that siphon Kundalini life force energy to remain in this dimension and basically to be at the top of the food chain. Now, we will break free of spiritual concentration camps by breaking free of this timeline and the programs associated with it. Kundalini activations and DNA upgrades are helping us to release density. However, our soul must follow what we're being intuitively guided to do to detach from that which seeks to bind us. Remember, religion means to bind. So we have created a soul revocation on a galactic level to renounce these contracts made prior to our awakening. And we added 2 books that's on Bobby Hemmett's book list. And we're going to give you those for free just for getting on the $6 tier today. Yeah, epic shit. And y'all, and most of y'all should know how we got access to a lot of these books because me and Bobby met on the astral plane, gave me access to the books. He told me what to do to get the books into this dimension. I did it, and within 2 or 3 days, I had the books. Okay, it's a whole lot of them. We have a whole library. But this just goes back to what I'm saying. The time and space is not a real thing. It's an illusion. And you don't have to be in the same area to have communication with somebody, because guess what? At Starseeds, our telepathy, they cranked up a lot. All right. So as we continue to descend deeper into the underworld halls of Amenti, right? Been coined many different things, Kali Yuga. It's a lot of different names that different cultures have for this timeline. Religion called it the tribulations, end days, okay? So what's happening is the chaos that we've repressed inside of our subconscious selves is coming out, and this is going to lead to nervous breakdowns, spiritual emergencies, dark nights of the souls, and mental madness. There are entities here that were summoned by those who seek to keep us blind and bound. We have removed a lot of myths around magic by consistently using our practices and documenting the impact. Ain't no need to be fearful or panic about any of this. We got y'all, but I'm gonna tell you this now. When I go over to Patreon, I'll let Candy code and trying to give people information that I feel like is not gonna scare them. I'm not doing that because that's keeping us stuck, being spooky and not able to expand our mind and heart chakra enough and allow our crown to be open. If you are spooked out and you allow fear to stop you from doing something when it's not an actual proven threat in front of you, you are being controlled to be stuck in the prison planet's programs, which we call the spiritual concentration camp. So I'm telling you now that the cure for this is the dark feminine, and that is a divine energy of creation. And this is the main reason that we are trapped in the shit that we in now. And they made it very clear to me that if y'all continue to allow fear to be the driving force in which you make your decisions, the awakening is not going to be blissful for you. So is it possible to go through the awakening and still have bliss? Absolutely. The way that you get there will always be through the dark feminine. Every initiation on this planet is done through the dark feminine, which is why even religion has focused so much on yoni and phallus worship and using those lessons from other ancient cultures and reverse engineering them to keep us stuck. So again, if something is love and light and it's presenting itself to you to be beautiful and non-harmful, and you just feel love and light, 9 times out of 10, that is false light. And that false light causes blindness of the third eye, not the 2. So you will live every day based on what you see with your 2 eyes and incapable of making decisions from the space of observing with your third eye or first eye, okay? So we're gonna go over there and we're gonna do a group meditation together, and we're gonna do the soul revocation, because as we know, RCC owns most of the souls on this planet, unless you have taken yourself through self-initiation and detox the religion from you, which is multi-generational. So if you've never stepped foot in the church and never read a Bible or the Quran or the Torah or whatever, you have still been implanted with these energetic implants that keep us stuck. So we finna head to Patreon. That you drop the links in there. The link is in the chat. See y'all on the other side. And we not on that funny shit. When somebody else said that, they did that so we would feel uncomfortable with being able to shift dimensions into what the fuck we want. So when I say see you on the other side, if that trigger fear in you, just know that they implanted something in you to block you. And you would do yourself justice by not allowing that to stop you. This resonates with your heart. Head over there with us. I'm bringing the smoke to get rid of the motherfucking smoke screen so that we can be liberated. See y'all on the other side.